I just brought a different flavor to the lounge. You know what I mean? But I did notice that the DoorDash Revolution himself actually backed up me and Dino with a fact, not a circle jerk, but an actual fact. What I mean by circle jerk is like who's friends with who, so I'm going to agree with them because they're friends. It wasn't one of those. I was trying to explain to the lounge that I no longer have a pickup buy time on the top of my app where the hamburger is. Some people call it a hamburger. If you don't know what that is, look it up. So it started with me about November 22. Around there is when I can remember first noticing, where'd it go? Thought it was an app glitch. Well, turns out it wasn't an app glitch. I heard Dino talking about it. In his video that he made, it was, I believe, Thursday or Friday. Don't quote me. Last week. Today's Sunday, Thursday or Friday last week. I was like, holy shit, Dino knows about it. He's like talking about it. So I'm like, well, cool. Somebody else knows about it. Well, the lounge is like, you guys, you could, no. That's all I heard. No. They laughed, they ridiculed, they laughed, and then they ridiculed some more. And I was like, dude, I'll do a screenshot of it. I was like, Dino, do a screenshot of it. Just shut him up. Dino was so mad at that point, I don't think he could hear me because Dino was also talking over everybody, just like I was. Guys, I just read a comment from Hot Facts with Robert Reese on one of his shorts. It said, yeah, TORP shouldn't have talked over Roy. I'm like, dude, you can't not talk over Roy. You can't not talk over anybody in the lounge if you want to be heard. There's no other way. People make it sound like you're in the same room. You're not. It's the internet. Half the time, there's a lag, too. You don't even know when someone stopped talking. It's like, man, he said that like 5 minutes ago. You've got to be loud and you got to be fast if you want to be heard. You do the internet long enough, you kind of figure that shit out. It's not just a nice peaceful conversation back. You shut up, then I talk, then I stop talking, and you talk. It doesn't work that way. You have to be loud. You have to talk fast. Which, yes, means you usually talk over somebody. Especially in the lounge. The lounge is no place for the tame of heart. It's not going to work. Especially if you're not agreeing with somebody. If you're going to have a discussion when you're disagreeing with somebody in the lounge, you need to speak up, speak fast, and do not wait for the appropriate time, given permission by the person that you're speaking to. Otherwise, you're just going to sit there for 20 minutes and not say a damn word. So if you're going to do that, why would you go? What would be the point of going in the lounge if you're just going to shut up and listen? I ain't that guy. I didn't go into the lounge to learn something. I wasn't being educated. It's an apparent place to talk about different topics. Mostly DoorDash or any gig app. So the DoorDash Revolution knocks it out of the park, comes up the next day, boom. He didn't only do a screenshot, he showed the phone. And you know what I'm saying? Because these days you can edit anything. But that was real. So I was like, dude, that's fire. I was going to do that tomorrow because I took 2 days off, Saturday and today. I was like, I need a small break. So I did that. I was going to do it tomorrow. I don't have to do it now. My phone looks exactly like his does, the DoorDash Revolution, the Rev. It looks just like his. Everything's exactly the same. And then the comment on DoorDash Revolution was like, this guy was laughing at us, basically mocking us as boomers or something, saying that that's the font. That's the font. That's why you can't see it. If you make your font smaller, it'll fit in there. I'm like, no, disagree. I'll tell you why I disagree. I haven't changed anything on my phone. It has got nothing to do with app updates. I'll tell you what it does have to do with. It's the fact that, and nobody in the lounge will listen to me about this last night, so I'm going to say it to where I won't be interrupted by Roy talking over me. All right? What it is if you all remember back in the 80s, Domino's Pizza had a campaign. And if you all didn't have it, that's on you. You can look it up, though. They guaranteed your pizza delivery within 30 minutes or less, or it was free. So what did their drivers do? What did the management do in those stores? Drive as fast as you can, break all the laws that you need to break, all the stoplights, to get that pizza there in 30 minutes or less, they lost their ass on that campaign. Not to mention I do believe, I remember hearing about it on the news, they got sued because they were forcing drivers to drive reckless. They pulled that campaign. It never came back anywhere from any place. That's my belief that that's kind of what happened here. It's like you're telling this driver that he's got to be there at this time when the order came in late to begin with. So now he's going to drive 4 times as fast as he would have normally done. That's not safe. It's not good for anybody. So I believe DoorDash, this is my opinion because I know some people in the lounge are like, man, what are you sniffing, glue? They don't do that. And the other part of the conversation is that the contract violations, you all know this to be a fact. Contract violations are very simple. It's per driver. It's per order. It's per day. There is no reason or rhyme to the contract violations. I'll even Flex. I very rarely hear Flex go silent on me, but he did last night when I said, did you just say 3 contract violations is termination, or not deactivation? And he first said yes, and I said, since when? There's people on here with screenshots of 6 and 7 contract violations. And I heard crickets in that room. There is no rule book. There is no, because you know what? I looked it up. I had to look it up. Nobody else seemed to have an answer to it or was talking about it. They don't have. They said, all it says is, 1 contract violation does not constitute grounds for deactivation. Matter of fact, when you get your first contract violation, what does it say? Continue dashing as normal. For all the top dogs in the lion's den, I'm surprised none of those guys knew that. I'm not saying that they're stupid. I'm just saying I'm surprised they didn't know it because it's pretty obvious. They've all had a contract violation, as far as I know. Could be wrong, don't quote me. But they've talked about them quite a bit. So they must either know about them or have gotten one. And I'm like, we are way off on this page because as soon as you butt hurt somebody, what do? They start talking over you. You shut up. You listen to me. You won't let anybody talk. I'm like, dude, I've been listening to 5 guys talk nonstop 10, 15 minutes. What exactly is the time frame on the lounge for being allowed to speak without someone like Roy coming up and going, you need to respect me. You need to have common courtesy. I'm like, dude, you're all over the internet being a complete douchebag. Who are you talking to about courtesy? What courtesy? What, every time you say something bad about Flex, that's just a joke? Is it a joke? Because that's what I was talking about last night. You go on the lounge, oh, hey, brother. And then you go over back to yours and you're like, man, that place is a joke. It ain't nothing but drama. Roy, what are we, deaf? Sorry. Not we. I'm not throwing everybody into that. What am I, deaf? I don't think so. Last night was a pleasure for me. Let me tell you why. Because Roy did show his ass. And now I don't have to go on his damn live and do it again. Because that would have been just like the first time I was on the lounge. My only problem with that is I think that Roy may have... I think he may have given me some leeway trying to keep me there because last night I got muted probably 500,000 times, which has never happened before. I got muted on the lounge and I told him, you keep on muting me, I'm just going to leave. What am I going to do, lose sleep over it? No. Keep on muting me. That's why I told Flex, he goes, I'm not muting you, one of the other guys are muting you. I'm like, what I'm telling him to stop it. Flex's defense, he did. He did tell him, he said, stop doing that. Don't mute him. I just thought it was funny. I was like, you go to mute the one guy that's expressing himself against the grain. Isn't that what the lounge is all about? Going against the grain? If they all agreed with each other 110% of the time, what would be the point of watching the lounge? In other words, you'd have 8 Flexes on there, and they'd all just be like clones. That would suck. You're going to want some controversy, by the way. You're going to want some drama. It's called conversation. A realistic conversation is when 2 people are discussing something and they find differences of opinion. So when people get all jacked up on the idea that it's loud. Torp talked over this guy, that guy talked over that guy. It's like, well, duh. Even when you watch those lives for businesses and you see the bloopers, and sometimes those go viral on TikTok or whatever, they talk over each other. That's why you always hear, oh, excuse me, I thought you were done. Because it's hard to keep up when it's live like that. And sometimes it's like, after you get done talking, you can hear somebody was already talking behind you. And now their voice is starting to show up because you've slowed down. It's like, I didn't even know you were talking, dude. Again, you're not going to get anywhere on those lives unless you have no choice but to talk over somebody. Unless you're Mr. Calm, Cool, and Collective and you say, I don't know what everybody else is getting all jacked up about. It's very calm. Everything's fine. Dude, you know how many personalities are in that lounge? And you really expect everybody to be on the same page? And oh, by the way, as soon as I sign into the lounge, they don't have anything on there about rules, regulations, and how to talk. Figure's pretty common knowledge. You get into a place like the lounge, you better be ready to man up. I will say that Roy manned up. He tried to talk over me. He's not as loud as me. I will win with Roy every single time. He has nothing to offer me except for the potential of a hemorrhoid. I would say that most of my relationships with hemorrhoids have been better than the one that I have with Roy. Other than that, I don't have any issues. He doesn't want me to talk over him. The best way to do that is if he just makes sense. I won't have to. All right. Torp out.